Hi everybody, I'm going to talk to you about Charitable's new donation recovery add-on, and it's quite exciting. So let's talk about donation forms for a second. As you can see here, I've got a donation form set up. Often people will go to donation forms, maybe like yours, and they start to fill out information, and then maybe they get distracted, or they close a tab, or they go walk off and do something, and sometimes they never come back. That donor was ready to give. Sometimes a well thought out reminder can make the difference between a lost opportunity or a completed donation or a completed gift. So with donation recovery, that reminder can be automatically generated for you in Charitable. And there's lots of e-commerce tools that actually do this for e-commerce. Even WooCommerce has this built in. There's tools like Drip that do this. But for donations and fundraising and charities in the WordPress space, there really hasn't been anything for this until now. And that's why our donation recovery add-on comes in. Let me show you how it works. So again, we have the donation form here. I've already started typing in my name. Now, when it's active on a particular campaign, once I type in an email like this, I use the word test probably far too many times. Now, once that's done, let's say, for example, I close this browser window, or I just walk away and never return, or maybe something got rebooted on my machine or something along those lines, right? That, you've started to fill out the form, something stopped the process. So at this point, the Charitable has already started capturing the information that's being entered in the donation form. And what is going to happen now is that after a certain period of time, Charitable in your website is going to be able to send an email asking that person, hey, do you want to finish this donation? Link back to the donation form, and they can fill out the rest of their information. That is basically the whole cycle. But let me show you now some of the settings with the donation recovery add-on here that I think you'll find interesting. So these are the donor recovery settings. So the automatic cutoff is 60 minutes currently, and that's pretty much a good default. That means that by the time, that's the time between the form was stopped being filled in, and then basically the clock started until they get an email. Now with WordPress, it may not be exact, but this is generally getting an email about 60 minutes later, which is pretty much a standard, but you can set it up to 24 hours if you want. The session retention is just information that the plugin keeps. 90 days is usually perfectly fine. The donor recovery, it can be applied to any campaign or all campaigns, and that's where you can set that here. Notice that for my current test form, Clean Water for Rural Communities, I've already had 8 sessions, so that means 8 form attempts and 1 recovery, and I'll tell you about that in a second. So again, you can apply this to any campaigns you want. And at the bottom here, it says recovery email sender. So you may want to specifically, there might be a override name or email address that you may want to use to send out your recovery emails, and you can do that here. You notice there's a message here that says donation email address is not currently enabled. Well, because we're sending out emails, Charitable allows you to customize those emails just like it allows you to customize a bunch of other emails. It does. Here is the donation recovery. I'm going to enable it. And if you're familiar with Charitable emails, this should not be too much of a difference between any other customized emails you can do. We're going to be able to see this in 1 second as I go through this. This is the default donation recovery email. So when someone partially fills out a form, this is what gets sent to them. This is what we saw in the email settings a few minutes ago. So notice also the email has an unsubscribe feature as well. So the potential donor does have the ability to unsubscribe from these, and they would not be able to get another recovery email again for this or any other campaign. And when someone clicks on that link in the email, they come to a form like this that is already filled out with the information that was captured, and all they have to do is just finish the donation form, and boom, you get your donation. What previously was lost, now you have a nice donation for it. And this is pretty much common in the e-commerce world in terms of, cart abandonment recovery does lead to positive results. It's been known to do that. So in Charitable, we hope that with the donation add-on, when used well, we'll be able to get back some of those lost donations. And so if you are interested in this and you want to check it out, or if you have feedback or questions, check us out at wpcharitable.com. And remember, compassion through action. See you in the next video.